So we've had some big changes announced on the Philippines SRRV visa, which is quite interesting. So for those who don't know, the SRRV stands for the Special Resident Retirees Visa. It's the retirement visa in the Philippines. So a bit of background here. As far as retirement visas go, the Philippines generally did have the most accommodating retirement visa in Southeast Asia. They used to allow people over the age of 35 to apply for the retirement visa, where a lot of other countries, you have to be at least 50, 55, 60 years old, etc. So they used to allow 35-year-olds to apply in the Philippines, and then they cancelled that in 2020 and they changed it to people aged only 50 and above. Now 5 years later, in 2025, there have been a new set of changes announced for the visa, and to some extent it's going back a little bit to where it used to be pre-2020. So previously there were 4 categories. There was the Smile, which was the basic retirement visa. There was the Classic, which was tied to purchasing or entering into a long-term lease on a condo or some other real estate. There was the Human Touch, which was tied to receiving medical treatment in the Philippines, and the Courtesy version, which was all about war veterans and those kinds of people being able to get sort of a lower barrier of entry to retire in the Philippines if you had served in the military or some other kind of government role. So now there are 2 categories, and we have the Classic and the Courtesy. So the Classic, with the new changes in 2025, for 40 to 49-year-olds, if you are a pensioner, I don't know if there are any pensioners in this category, but if you are a pensioner in the 40 to 49 age group, you have to make a fixed bank deposit of $25,000 into an accredited bank in the Philippines. If you are not a pensioner, which will be most people in this age group, you have to make a $50,000 fixed deposit into a Philippines bank. For over 50s, if you're a pensioner, you have to deposit $15,000. If you're not a pensioner, it is $30,000 you have to deposit. And for the people who are receiving a pension, there are conditions and minimum pension requirements around that, depending on whether you are single or whether you are bringing dependents with you as well. Now, the Courtesy Retirement Visa. This one is for ex-military, certain kinds of government officials like foreign diplomats and other categories, but most people applying for the Courtesy visa will be ex-military people. For 40 to 49-year-olds, if you're on a pension, you have to deposit just $3,000. So as you can see here, the barrier to apply as a veteran is much lower. So this is quite popular with people who have served in the military because it's so easy. Now, if you're not on a pensioner, but you are ex-military and you're applying on the Courtesy visa, you have to deposit $6,000. And if you're over 50 years of age, the deposit is only $1,500. There is an option to convert your visa deposit into a condo purchase. So if you're going to do that, you have to spend at least $50,000, and the property has to be purchased from an accredited developer or some other kind of property program that is approved by the SRRV visa administrators. An interesting thing about the SRR visa announcements in 2025 is that they are now describing it as a permanent residency visa option in the Philippines. So you will have permanent residency rights in the Philippines, but it's conditional on paying your annual fees every year, maintaining your fixed deposit, and keeping up with the other requirements of the visa. So let's have a bit more of a look at the basic visa overview now. So it is a multiple entry visa. You don't need to apply for permission to leave the country. You won't have to get an ACR card. That typically a lot of the younger expats in the Philippines will have to get if they're staying there for an extended period of time. You can bring your spouse with you, which is quite good, and also your children, provided they are below the age of 21 and they are not married. A lot of retirement visas in Asia are a bit restrictive around bringing dependents, so this one is quite good on that front. And in addition to the bank deposit amounts I mentioned above, if you are bringing dependents in excess of 2, then you have to provide an extra $15,000 for each dependent. You're also going to get discounts on local health insurance. There's tax exemptions on pensions and annuities, and you will have to do a medical check and a police check, which is quite common with most residency visas, no matter where you go. So who is this visa suitable for? Well, it is a reasonably big outlay, particularly for the under 50s who aren't on a pension, which will be most people in the 40 to 49 category, $50,000. For some people, it's not going to be a lot of money. For some people, it will be a lot of money, but you do get something for your money for that. So interesting how they're marketing it as a permanent residency. As far as permanent residency options go, no matter where you go, this is relatively cheap. And even though there are conditions attached to it, like I said, as long as you keep adhering to the visa requirements, you keep your deposit in the bank, you keep paying your annual fees and doing all the other kind of associated requirements, it is an indefinite visa. So in that sense, it is permanent. If you're an under 50 and you're looking for a plan B in Asia, $50,000, you're not going to find that many long-term residency options for that kind of money. This is quite attractive in that respect. So if you're a young guy, under 50, you're looking for a home base in Asia, maybe you're looking for a tax-effective jurisdiction to scale your wealth, this can be a good option for you. The Philippines has very accommodating tax treatment of foreign sourced income. So if you're structured the right way, it can be a really good way to really grow your wealth over a number of years, because you're going to be saving so much more on your tax bill. That's extra money you can invest. Not to mention that you're going to be saving a lot of money because the cost of living is so affordable in the Philippines. So it can be a really good way to get ahead financially if you're staying there for a number of years. There's probably a cohort of expats who are based in Thailand or looking at Thailand who are looking at potential alternatives, just because the taxation policy in Thailand is so fluid and it makes it a little bit difficult for people to tax plan in the longer term, particularly if they have a lot of wealth, if they have businesses and so on. So for people looking for a bit more certainty or just a backup option, somewhere to go if Thailand sort of goes in a direction they're not happy with, then this could be an appropriate alternative. I would say the Philippines isn't nearly as developed as Thailand, but that said, you still can live quite good and quite a modern lifestyle in certain parts of the country, like BGC in Manila. Cebu has quite a large expat community there as well. So there certainly are options there. So this is a very interesting development. I think it's a good development for the under 50s in particular, who have a little bit of money, who they want to put into something, and it's not a donation like some of the alternatives in other countries. This is your money. You can take it back, but then you will lose your visa. But at least it's your money, you're not going to lose it. But if this visa is not for you, there are other options. So $50,000, as we've said here, for the under 50s. There is also the FIV visa in the Philippines, which requires $75,000, so it's only an extra $25,000, and this one gives you PR. It has a very fast processing time. In under a week, you can have your PR in under a week on the FIV, and it gives you a pathway towards citizenship, which is very rare in Asia. It's very difficult for a foreigner to get citizenship in most parts of Asia. There are retirement visas in other parts of Southeast Asia. Of course, Thailand has their retirement visa for over 50s. Indonesia has one, you have to be 60 years old for that, and Cambodia, you have to be 55 years of age to apply for their retirement visa. So good options there if you're in the older age bracket. Where this visa really stands out is the under 50s category, where there are limited options. But there are a couple of options in Malaysia on the MM2H if you want to buy a property and move to Peninsular Malaysia, or you can go out to Sarawak in Malaysian Borneo, which is beautiful, and you don't have to buy a property there, and you don't have to put too much money into it. That one is reasonably accessible as well. But really good to have the SRRV back with the under 50s category, and to just have another option in Asia for the younger guys, because there are a lot of younger guys in their 40s and so on who are living out here now, but they can't apply for the retirement visas, of course, in most countries. So it's really good to have another option for that age bracket. Now, if you're interested in moving out to the Philippines, learning more about this visa or anywhere else in Asia, getting your residency, setting up your tax situation, setting up your investments, setting up businesses, and how all this stuff works together in an optimized way. This is what we do here at Offshore in Asia. We work with a lot of Aussies, of course, but we also work with people from all around the world who want to move out to Asia. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, setting up a plan B, improving your lifestyle, lowering your cost of living, and just really putting together a plan to get ahead, because living out here for a number of years, it can really give a boost to your lifestyle, your happiness, your finances, and so forth. A lot of people come out here for dating as well. It doesn't really matter what you're looking for. There are people living out in Asia for all kinds of different reasons. It really is a wonderful place, lots of options. There's going to be something for you no matter what is important to you. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Get in touch over in offshoreinAsia.com if you want to learn more. We're offering discovery calls there for free at the moment. You can also book in a paid consultancy, and of course you can hit us up on the email via our contact page. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.